IMAFoundation.com is a registered organisation in India 2019 and in London 2008. The art organisation was established with the core purpose of identifying, supporting and promoting the best of contemporary Indian artistic talent and traditions in the international arena. In particular, selecting, supporting and promoting the artists deemed to be the future standard bearers for Indian art. The cultural traditions and endangered arts of India are also showcased and supported to ensure they inspire and engage a new generation. In 2017, IMA was chosen to represent India at UNESCO's World Humanities Conference held in Liège, Belgium, where the endangered arts of India and contemporary art was showcased. IMA continues to be committed to showcasing and cultivating the cultural DNA of the Indian nation. From April 2020 till the present, IMAFoundation.com is offering a live online art project which is focused on offering art training for all interested during the lockdown period.
IMAFoundation.com is proud to present a show on the retrospective works of Professor Pratibha Singh. Pratibha was born in Bangalore. She completed her bachelor's degree in painting at the College of Fine Arts, Bangalore, and her master's degree in painting at Kalabhavan Vishwa Bharati Shantiniketan in 1990. Pratibha is a professor in the Department of Painting at the College of Fine Arts, Bangalore. Being in the teaching fraternity, she has shouldered various responsibilities. For instance, the principal of the College of Fine Arts, CKP, chairman of the BOS, controller of exams, head of the Department of Painting for several years, academic advisor for Fulbright Scholars, guide for scholars under HRD scholarship, and member on various academic statutory bodies of the college and universities. Along with teaching, she has been regularly participating in exhibitions of state, national and international organisations, in curated group and charity shows. To mention a few, the National Exhibition of Arts, Lalit Kala Academy, New Delhi 2017, Perspectives of Karnataka Modern Art, a curated show at NGMA Bangalore, 28th National Exhibition of Contemporary Art, South Zone Cultural Centre, Nagpur, the Harmony Show, Nehru Centre, Mumbai. She's also had a couple of solo shows in Bangalore and Chennai. Her paintings have been shown in London, New York and New Delhi through Aparo Galleries, Chennai. In recent times, a few online shows and a presentation of her works have appeared on Anya Drishya online interviews, AD 0014. She's attended several artist camps organised by state and national academies and institutions. She has conducted research on wall paintings of Bangalore under the Minor Research Project, UGC. She was awarded by the Karnataka State Lalit Kala Academy for her painting and received the Kempe Gowda Award 2016 for her contribution to art pedagogy. Pratibha's paintings are often narratives of sorts with no story as such. They could at times appear autobiographical but are not documentary in nature. She says the constraints of time brought about a blend in the habits of writing diaries and painting together. The language of the earlier works weaves a pensive narrative with stories within stories, echoing the tradition of Indian narratives, with lines and tones celebrating the facts of life. Gradually, the moments of fond memories are held with the realism of photos. Presently, her drawings are trying to hold on to the fast-slipping nature being lost to the looming urbanization. The pensive, melancholic fantasies pave a way to a protective, responsible parent, to gradually a citizen, an observer of the life.
just really looking forward to seeing your works. My background is in the field of psychology, but I'm really interested in creative intelligence and really interested in your combination of education and of working and how those two worlds come together. Yeah, just wanted to.
Thank you so much.
That was Rani Sharma, Director of IMA Foundation, and my name is Radha Binod Sharma, and I'm a founder of IMA Foundation, and mainly I'm a full-time practicing artist. This is the main stamp I want to put. So we look after contemporary, endangered, indigenous Indian art, and this is fantastic. We will be enjoying with Pratibha. Pratibha, do you understand anything?
Yes, I just want to say a few words. I'm really very thankful to both of you, Vinod and Rani, for all this organization that you are doing. It's really good. And considering me as part of your Adda, an extension of that Adda is really very nice. And thank you so much for everybody who's come on to share my works today. And very often I do share my works with others, but what is so special today is I'm connecting with my old friends and to seeing an audience whom I don't know. That's why I'm so thankful to both of you for giving me this platform to share my works. Thank you so much. I thank all of you who come. I hope you'll really enjoy my work. And I would love to hear comments from all of you.
Today's retrospective is Pratibha's.
I passed out in 90, so it's almost 31 years now.
Yeah, 31 years of Pratibha's, but this is retrospective online, so we can't show everything. There's a chosen work. Pratibha did 10 times, 20 times more than that. So 31 is quite long years, over 3 decades. So yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy. I'm going to start right on now.
These are one of the work I'm showing you from. The first start one was the egg tempera in Shantiniketan. After I came back from Shantiniketan, I was in Bangalore. I took up a job. I was trying to come to terms with myself as a person and the change of environment also, which had happened from my hostel life to my personal life again. So that's how those drawings happened. Then I moved on to these other drawings. Like I've been trying out with just life around me. I'm trying different mediums, materials, not necessarily very serious, but yes, all these reasons why my work grew later. While looking here, I had a little niece at home. I was trying to accommodate my people and myself at home. You know, like from the hostel life, when you come back, suddenly the family, though you love them a lot, sometimes they feel like they are a disturbance. So it's trying to go along with it. I was working in oil paintings in Shantiniketan, or until my master's, I used to work on large scale 5x4, 6x4 kind of canvas paintings in oil. When I took up a job and shifting home, I couldn't work on large scale works. So that's the reason why my works came down to smaller sizes and comfortable to handle, and also water media. Because watercolor working and smaller size allowed me to bring in the way I used to do scribbles or write a journal or have like a writer diary, like, you know, where you kind of write your everyday activities. Slowly started coming into my paintings, and the diary weaned off and my paintings grew. After that, I've never went back to oil painting, because I think as a teacher, you always have constraints of time and space. Like even in the college, I have a studio, but it's not possible to sit down in a studio and concentrate on your work because you have a class to take. So my work sizes became small from my large size, and then the watercolor start. All these watercolors, what you're seeing now, is what I was starting to work in this period. Before this period, I never worked in watercolor. That's why I say the watercolor is like a diary writing for me. That's how the smaller sizes happened.
I can feel it like a touching with my finger. Yeah. A blue cloth and that chapter in bed, right?
Yeah.
What?
Like it's just all my simple life that I lived around, my coming to terms with myself as a young lady. Mm-hmm. That time coming to life, I was just trying to do all those things around me. These were also the same time and I had a lovely new studio given to me from my parents. So the studio is also kind of repeatedly documented like. And this was a little later phase while I started studying miniatures in the college. So it's a kind of understanding miniature structure as a language. So that started coming into my work, the kind of rendering where I give away the illusions. Then around 96, certain changes in my life. And I started including a bit of romance, maybe a bit of tension, a bit of anxiety. All of it came into my work. I just part of that age group. In those days, I think I traveled to little places around me, away from the city. So that the kind of that open landscapes are so interesting. At the same time, you know, I think for any dream, there's a huge monumental feeling. The dreams are always kind of over exaggerated. You find perfect things too large in your dream. So I was trying to bring in and collaborate those into my paintings at that time. By now, I was very comfortable with watercolor. So I've been working with more watercolors after this too.
It's just really interesting how you connected with nature and you're lying in nature. And it's just given you a really open kind of sort of language, with color. It's really
monumental.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I say it's sort of a kind of autobiographical, but not documenting myself as a. In this one also, if you see, this is in 96, 98. After I got married, I shifted to my own house. My own house was beautiful in comparison to my parents' house. My house was literally empty with just me, my husband, artworks, and the toys that we had collected. I had nothing as furniture or no clutter in my house, and I loved it. My mom's house was so loaded, and here it was empty. These toys that you're seeing around were kind of witnessing my life there. You know, on the left side that you're seeing was a sculpture made by Sanjay, and all the decoration was the part of our decorating that sculpture. So the sculptures, the toys became part of my life. Plus, in addition, after I got married, the first question everybody looks at a married person's face is, when will I have a child next? That's the next target, like. And I used to travel on bus from my home to the college. And I used to go through a hospital which addressed these pregnant women. So my bus would be full of pregnant women, at least 20 to 30%, you know. So the pregnant women kept coming into my paintings. And of course, some of them were so happy, while some took it as a burden. Both were there together, you know. So that's how these set of pictures, you see drawings, you find some of it. I called it Where My King. That toy was the only big toy in my house. And that was the only furniture kind. We used to sit on the floor and all. It was a beautiful phase for me. But then, of course, the home inevitabilities, I've got more furniture now.
I also like the toys. The toy was the witness of your childhood and your emotional world. And you brought that emotional world into this.
Yes.
So it's a very poignant kind of.
Thank you. Yeah, I brought it, like I said, that they were witnessing everything that I was doing now. Yeah. This was the new locality I started staying in. So the new kind of people around and all. So this is a series where I went on talking about my king. That king was there. He was there. And my new life, just seeing things around. This was my house. Like in these, there are some fantasy stories, dreamlike stories woven together. Nothing particular, but the quietness of it tells you an inner stories. That's how Indian mythology is also about. One story leading to another story. I did a series of these small drawings. I did a number of them because they're very comfortable size, like a sketchbook. And these drawings were also connecting my home to my college work. So I have my toys and I also have my journey, which, you know, that time Bangalore was still developing. So I lived in a semi-rural area and I traveled to the cosmopolitan center of the city. So the journey on the bus brought about a lot of things. You would see the farms slowly giving way for urban life. And I'll show you some more works which will talk about the constant change which was happening. I was in a phase when the city was getting a kind of metro city. So there was a fast changing things from the rural areas to the semi-urban areas to the urban areas. That's the series of these drawings like that. In Karnataka, we have a traditional painting tradition, which has something called a Prabhavali, which is an arch which welcomes good things. That arch is also coming into my paintings. You know? So the arch was symbolized. Now, this is another little story about how I travel from the city, urban place to the city. That's where you find the tile factories. You find people transporting fruits and vegetables from the rural areas to the cities. Along with it, the animals and cattle also kept moving around, you know. So it was my 1 hour journey was beautiful. Flyovers were coming in Bangalore. At that time, heavy construction of roads to connect the rural area to the city, including the people. People changing themselves, traveling around was happening, you know. You'll find how people admired themselves as they are. At the same time, their heroes were always there. They always try to look at him. So traveling in the bus gave me many more stories, you know. Like this is the bus, the mirror in the bus I've been using, and the loads of stories they speak.
Pratibha, I'll tell you, you was through the bus during that time, 7-8 months, right? You'll be enjoying its view, you know, you'll be keeping on your diary, your heart and your brain, you know.
I loved my bus journey because it used to take 1 hour for me to travel. In the 1 hour, actually, I used to sit and listen to the people's conversation. A lot of in Bangalore, we have a lot of factories. So these young girls go to factories. So they come from small, humble families, and the kind of stories they share with each other was beautiful. Now in this, you see this girl who's standing there in the red. She is 1 eye blind. I remember this girl who used to be there, and she used to have full makeup on the other eye. You know, 1 eye she's blind, but the other eye was full of makeup, and she was very active, she was so conscious of her looks, but she knew she was pretty. But that 1 eye not being there never bothered her. And her friend along with her, both of them are constantly telling stories to each other about the family. And that used to be very, very beautiful, you know. They spoke about the men, or the men spoke about the women. But that was a lovely narratives in the bus when I'm traveling. You know? So this is what I'm saying. On the left side, what you're seeing is what in Karnataka tradition painting, we call it as the Prabhavali, in the sense that is this threshold of good happenings. So I used it symbolically in my pictures, where animals, birds, and life is there around that also. So life is not just in one plane, but it is the opening starter for good life. So those young girls are there. She's looking at herself in the mirror. She's looking at reflection. In the bus, you have the glasses, right? They look at themselves in those reflections and used to adjust the makeups. It was very interesting, actually.
Wow. Lovely story, actually. And it's really so. And I really like that you observed this girl, and she didn't give up her hope, you know.
Yeah. And especially the makeup on 1 eye, she used to have full makeup on it. That was very nice, actually.
No, I applaud that. I applaud that she didn't give up her hope.
Celebrating.
She's celebrating her beauty.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, part of the same thing. There are stories within stories which you don't have to really start and end it. You can just presume a lot of it.
You know that pillar you made?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Pratibha. Can you...
It's connecting between the childhood and the later part, like.
You know, you can see everything, that little part, you know.
Yeah.
And again, you make the story to be story, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was seeing that in our miniatures, we fill every little place. There's hardly anything that you do not pay attention to. And everything is there in proportions to be read, something louder, something softer. So that's what I was trying to do in these works. This Mekri circle was there in Bangalore. It was quite a prominent circle where, again, that was the end point of the rural and the beginning of the urban point, right? But that was a center which was going through changes. They were going to build flyovers and underpasses right over that path. Before they did it, we used to have these vendors. What you're seeing, he's a vendor selling specs on his hands, if you see the right side with the red cap. So we had a lot of common and lots of fruits vending would happen, and animals crossed the road. People lived there. Everything was happening there. But once the flyover came, it's so lifeless now. Because everything is so mechanical, only signal lights, traffic can move away. But before that, Mekri Circle was a place of activity. My bus would stop there at the signal point and you used to see all these activities. That's why I have that, you know, the flyover coming in, the billboards there, the fruit lorries loaded with fruits from the rural going to the urban, and then these vendors, the animals. So all of it put together, it was the end of a rural life. And that was the point here.
Pratibha's work is layer in the sun, layer, you know.
Yeah. It's simply facts of life. You know, our lives are in layers. We hardly have one story at a time. Absolutely. We have multiple stories in our lives.
Absolutely.
But I think your paintings open the door to that multiverse, yeah? That there's different layers. And that's the interesting thing. It's not just one narrative, there's different layers to it, yeah?
That's why I say it's stories within stories. It goes on.
Yeah.
This was a phase, then I think towards this time I started using collages, like the newspapers that we get in gives you advices, use this, do this, this is how your daily life. So newspapers had become very interesting too. So I started collaborating paintings with newspaper. This is the time my son was born. That was my son. And my life changed after he was born. For this is all what I saw. The 24 hours I had only my son in my head and my eyes. But then after about a few months after he was born, I think into 1 year, I started painting. And my son was a little different. I couldn't tell him stories very easily. The fantasy stories was impossible. Yeah, this is the only canvas I did. I didn't do much of canvas. I was ambitious. For me, my son was all the time present, right? So that's why I repeated his image saying that he's all the time present for me. And I was looking at history while I was in the college to see how, no matter whether it's Mother Mary or Krishna, Radha, Krishna's mother or whoever, for a mother, the child seems all everything. But to my son, I couldn't tell him stories of myth easily. Because if I told him that Shiva, Ganga river on his head, he used to smile at me and say, how can that be possible? He's a very scientific child, you know. I could never tell him that Ganesha's head was because he lost his life and they brought an elephant on his head. He just giggled and thought I was wrong. You know? He has that kind of logic. So the next picture you'll see, I tried telling him stories. So I had to read a lot to talk to him. Like I couldn't tell him there is air here. He says, then why can't I see it? He was a very curious child. And that curiosity, I had to go back reading books to talk to him. How do I tell him a story? And how do I tell him my Hindu, the Indian heritage? It was a tough task for me. But then, yes, he was a child who reads a lot.
Mom is very powerful, Pratibha.
Yes, so that's how you'll find. That's how my paintings turned everything where it was centric to my son. Another reason is, you will see in my paintings, when my child came in, I started using photorealistic images. That's because when I had my child, I knew if I had to see something very lovely of a child, the first thing I did is pick my camera, take a photo. So I started realizing our memories are from photographs. So photographs play a vital role in me holding on the memory of the precious moment. So I started bringing photorealistic references in my painting, where I combine the not so photorealistic to a kind of a collage of photorealistic thing. Because for me, my child's memory is a photograph today. And every day the child's growing up, every day is a memory. So that's how I have a series of works on my child where photorealism came into my work.
How to describe? Lovely.
Like this is all me teaching him alphabets or giving him games or all altitude. That's there in the background. This is, I learn, I call it. And this is the only phase where I've really titled the work. He was a very, very curious child. So everything I had to do. I call this a picture dictionary. So I introduce the world to him like a picture dictionary, that's a lake. This is a forest, because really they don't exist around us. This is again what the child is always longing for, a fairy tale life. But the newspapers were also equally interesting for children at that time. So in the background, I have a newspaper, and in foreground, I have my child. These are all the stories of trees. That's why I call it Tales of Trees. This is the favorite dog he had in my college when we used to go there near his school. That was his dog.
Wow.
Again, these are all the newspaper. We used to get the Deccan Herald, which calls it the Open Sesame. And we used to have narrative stories of it. And my son was growing, so the puzzles were coming in, the games were coming in. He says this is all what he requires. Like for a child's life, like we think of so many things that they require. They need very simple things. Yeah, this was someone, everybody who used to look at him, ask him his identity, like saying, whom does he look like? So one day he told me, I look like myself. That's why I did that picture saying that himself.
Nice. Wow.
Yes, this is also a little comic strip which comes where the child asks the parents to trust the child, and the child will trust back the mother. So that was a painting which talks about it.
Beautiful.
Yes, my son loved to inspect everything. That's why that magic specs.
Like a little scientist, huh?
Yes. This is all the track routes and all. This I call it the book of endangered species, because in Bangalore, these were all there, which is lost. Along with it, the urban life loses the child's innocence.
Wow.
Well, then came a phase. My son grew older, and my son, I no longer had to feed him. He used to feed me back with his informations. I didn't have to inform him anything more. So my attention span actually from him moved away, because he had his own time, his own space. Now he grew away from me. Then I was looking at my house. The lighting in my house kitchen is wonderful. That's why I put the photographs of my kitchen here. I had a lot of open space around me, and that was dying down because the neighbors were building houses. So that beautiful light was dying down. So I have one, and also notice in a city, everybody's kitchen is similar. We have the modular kitchen, and everybody treats the kitchen like as if to say the food appears by magic. It's so clean. Well, that's not the truth. I love the clutter of my kitchen. I love the mess that I do in my kitchen, because that would identify me. So I started working on this kitchen series. So I don't call them still lifes. I call them my kitchen. You can see them now.
Wow, Pratibha.
So these are some things from my kitchen, a quick sketch, that's it.
Please say something.
This is simply my kitchen sink from Monday to Friday. Monday, I managed to keep it really clean. It slowly piles up. By Saturday, it's really picturesque with everything dumped in my kitchen for the morning, So Monday, you're ambitious. You keep it very clean, and you'll say, okay, yes. The flour is simply a pumpkin flour, which I like to keep in my house. Kitchen is good, but I don't necessarily keep it. It's practical. That's true. So This is what happens from Monday to Friday. My kitchen loading off. So I just did a series. There are small works. Yes, this is also my kitchen.
Look at this bottle. Oil
that's
bottle.
a honey
Honey bottle.
bottle.
Oh, yeah. Pratibha. This honey bottle just attract me. That's why I came here.
Yeah. You have a list of what groceries I buy. Everything is there. The diary which I write my recipes. So in reality, a kitchen is like that. And I like that.
Pumpkin flower.
Yeah, this is where the light plays. You know, in the morning, I'll get lovely light in my kitchen. And that's the early morning light in the kitchen.
I can feel it.
Our windows, the kitchen windows open to the garden. So that's also very beautiful. You know, the garden, I can see my kitchen is very nice. I'm proud to say that because I have a nice big window which opens to the garden. The green is inside, the light is inside. It's really beautiful.
Little towel you make.
Yeah.
I don't know how much input you put. Definitely you put. Little towel make me so yummy. Not for eat, as a feelings, you know. How much observation you done. Yeah. You might not work too much, but there is so many things I can feel.
I did a number of these also. Like what I'm showing you, this kitchen series, each of them, I had a number of them. And then at a point I felt now it's enough. I think the next work was the last work that I worked. And I said, enough of my kitchen. What happens in me being a teaching thing, sometimes the job sucks us for a few months. Like I'm doing my work continuously. Suddenly I have taken a lot of responsibilities in college also. So that will take away all my time. So that it kind of inevitably gives me a break in my picture paintings. So when it happens for more than 4-5 months, when I come back, my works would go through some change. Or sometimes the work is also going through a change and the responsibility is also mounting up. Then there's a break, like it completely gives me a cutoff from my paintings. When I come back again, it comes back differently. This is my last of that series.
Beautiful.
I eat a lot of papayas, so they had to appear in my painting. Bangalore has beautiful outskirts. These are all just a few kilometers from my house. In fact, what you're seeing in the lower part are the lake, which is there just about a few yards from my house. It's just next to my layout. We have a very beautiful lake. And just 20 kilometers from Bangalore, if I go out, it's very, very green. And this really, I saw it once this pandemic happened. Compulsory stay at home. And when we first had the opportunity to get out, we went out. I saw beautiful greenery all around. And also saw that the kind of construction that goes on in Bangalore, if you have visited a place about 6 months ago and then you come back afterwards, you see they have already laid a foundation for a building. So I realized that beautiful landscapes or the open skies that we have is slowly dying down now because of the urbanization. And people very happily say, the politicians say that we are having very good growth, population is coming, construction is happening, but at the cost of losing all our wonderful nature we had. So after this, you'll see that even my house during the pandemic, when I was staying at home, compulsory 4 months we were at home, I was seeing my garden, which is so green, I started seeing things. I was understanding what Rousseau could have done it by sitting in the garden and imagining a forest. And that somehow came to me as my home garden is also kind of affected by the construction that's happening around. The sunlight is so rare for me now. I have to preciously shift all my plants where I get sunlight. Before I had sunlight all over my garden. You can see the next slide, I show you my garden. That's why my work's changed.
Of course, your work is changing because of lots of things happening, in our life. And of course, what you're explaining, excellent, actually. Recently, one friend came from New York. We just gone in Piccadilly Circus. This is central London for a dinner. So totally changed in 3-4 months,
Yes, yeah.
London changing every 3-4 months. Bangalore is also same, isn't it? Metropolitan.
Yeah, yes. Especially, the beautiful outskirts. Today you will find nobody's fault, but it is happening. You're losing it out. You will see a lovely hillock. After a few days, when you go back, you'll find a house on it. And in 6 months, it'll be filled with houses.
Absolutely. We are losing quite a lot.
This is my garden. That's what I said. It's not easy in Bangalore to have gardens because space is a huge thing. I have a lovely. So then I moved on to talk about how we are losing landscapes. So these are my most recent works. These are large size.
This is not one day's work, not 1 month's work.
No. It's months together work for me because it's large. Of course, it has got each of this. Like I started seeing that whatever we are seeing, the landscape, it is through our window. Matlab, tomorrow we are going to see it like a museum piece. That the landscapes are going to die down and other things. So that's why I used a very soft Bangalore. Whenever you go outskirts or even in the city, you see construction. Initially, we used to see 1 or 2 cranes. Now cranes is a common affair. Diggers, the way they bulldoze the buildings is all a very common affair. And so the beautiful landscapes is being taken away. So that's why I'm calling these as diminishing landscapes. And I've been doing, and I don't know, I'm doing really large ones. So I just have 2 of my last works, which I'm showing, and these are works in process. I'm using pencil. Another reason is when I'm working with pencil, I feel every stroke of it, just like I'm trying to hold on to see the nature as close as that.
Touching with you.
Yeah. So every stroke that I'm putting, I feel, yes, I'm reliving that part of nature. In Bangalore, the landscape is mountainous and it's very beautiful. But then now when you go through, so much of the landscapes is gone because of construction, urbanization, and it's there everywhere true. But somehow in Bangalore, the urbanization is pretty too fast, I feel. The college that I go now, we have a new campus. It is on a hillock, and so we are cutting the mountain and build the college building. I really feel sorry about it. So that's how these things happen. So that's why the gaps are to say it's like a window now. We're seeing everything from a distance, we see it in a window.
Like a prison.
Yeah. This is the lake I was telling you near my house. It's a large lake. It's in 4 hectares of land, or 4 to 6 hectares of land. Hectares, It's a huge lake, very beautiful, and so much of life. And especially after the pandemic, it was filled with birds because there was no human interventions. It's very beautiful. And you won't believe it. Right in front of us, the peacock was running, which was so beautiful, We have birds, but then peacock coming into nature was beautiful. In this painting, I don't have the peacock though, but I'm just talking about how beautiful a lake can be. There is bamboos, and this is a very natural lake. It's not a man-made kind, where we make an island and make things, people cleaning, nothing like that. It's very natural. Lots of birds and ducks in that. So the lake is just coming back into it. It's very beautiful lake around. So actually it's my window and then the lake. I'm just what you're seeing in front where I have the shelves, because I felt we collect things from nature and preserve it in our windows. We keep it like, we like to keep the mementos. We put plants into a bonsai. We keep, bring seashells and keep it and decorate. What you're seeing in the bottom line, you're seeing them. What we put in our windowsills and we enjoy it. But the nature behind is what is dying off. But both of it is very beautiful in its own way.
Beautiful, Pratibha. And your composition, these are big size, 15 inch by 78 inch. This is like a huge. So
yes. I was also looking at how the Chinese scrolls slowly open. So if you see from starting, it's a smaller gaps to gradually to become big. So when you look at the lake, it's so vast, you cannot do it in small spaces. So it starts from something and slowly opens out to finally moving out that way.
Beautiful, Pratibha. This is like a, each corner you give your heart,
Yeah, it's something which I really loved it too. Trying to do things that affect me regularly or every day, but not by taking it on a surface value. It's by how I think of it deeply. I'm not political, neither am I any kind of agendas in it, but it is simply like a human being, how you see things, how you feel for it, and want to make kind of preserve them or hold on to them. Generally, basically, I'm not a person who gets too disturbed with anything, but I enjoy it. I do see that these landscapes are for a short time, but now, so I say, okay, let me document them. That's how it's going through. Anyway, that's the last of my work, which I'm showing for today. Thank you so much for everybody waiting and listening to me. And now I'd love to listen to everybody telling me how they felt about my works.
I just really like the way your narrative, and I really like the way that you give loving attention to what you really care about. And that's coming through. There's a real purity and honesty, which I deeply appreciated. And you know, I just feel that that's like your inner world. Yeah, you've kind of kept that open. How does that connect with your outer world, which is the teaching? Does it feed the outer world, or does the outer world, is it very distinctive?
No, of course, while I'm talking to my students, I do think that this one also gets transmitted to them a little bit, trying to tell them to do it. But you won't believe, Rani, very systematically, I've learned to kind of cut off the college after the college hours and come home. The drive that I have from the college to home is a time when I actually leave the college behind and come home or to my work. Otherwise, I realized in the beginning it was really bothering me. But then I think now over years, I've learned to handle them both together. It's not much that the outer world, especially the teaching, doesn't bother me much. It just takes my physical time, that's all.
Yeah. If anything, your inner world, I think, will feed your outer world. And I think that dynamic
yes.
See.
Yes, of course. I
kind of take it forward. It's inside of you, so it has to come now out into the world, yeah, because it's so important how you've done it, yeah, with love and attention. That's quite rare, I think. Loving attention.
Thank you so much.
Pratibha, what to say? I'm absolutely, mind-blowing. Wonderful work. I really, really like what I saw. And, specifically, I would say the very, very delicate touch, the very sensitive handling of watercolors, and later on, of course, the pencil works and the drawings. A few things like came to mind. We see a figure of a horse with wings.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us something about
Actually, I felt I was telling too many stories, so I held back. You know what, believe it, sometimes I used to dream of a horse with wings like that.
Okay.
But somehow, yes, and then somehow that was it coincided with me losing my father. So somehow I started associating it with him, like I kept dreaming of a horse flying down and coming home. And then after a few days, I lost my father. So I sort of connected with him and I brought it into my picture. It was somehow connecting my childhood with my mature age. So that was the way I brought on that horse in those early phases of my work.
Yeah, Pratibha ji, it was a treat looking at your work.
Thank
you. As I could see you as if you are still traveling by the bus, and as the whole episodes, all the works came to me as if I am seeing through the bus window, as you have described.
Thank you.
And one very interesting thing what I have noticed is a woman painter, especially as a man, I always think that a woman should paint women so that we know women better. So, and your romantic phase or your student life, where I have seen there is little of loneliness in that work. No, there were no much human figures involved in your compositions. But later on, I have seen the crowd in your work, and because you have seen the family, and again you move to still life, your kitchen. Then I've seen the photographs, group of photographs where only one single man a human figure is standing. So that was amazing to you are just playing with the imageries where the crowd somewhere is no crowd, and you are ending like a saint, like a Chinese monk, looking at the nature where human is not lost importance, where I think it is amazing to note that you want to make a statement where see, it will rain, and bushes will become bushes. So I think I've quoted this from one of my friend's poem, that it will rain, and bushes will become bushes. Somewhere you wanted to make a statement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a sensitive observation you gave me. It's so beautiful to hear you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Pratibha. I am fortunate. I'm fortunate I'm here this evening, actually. Thank you.
I should say thank you so much. I missed you otherwise.
Oh, in fact, I was like taken up completely because I never knew this side of you. I haven't seen much of your work in spite of being in touch with Sanjay. And it is totally overwhelming. In fact, I think when you spoke about the kitchen sinks, and you showed the series, and you said you like the clutter, but I don't see any clutter in your work. I see such well-defined, such well-composed, compact spaces. And every element inside is speaking for itself in a very silent way. So it's like, I just don't know, it just takes you into the work. I'm really amazed. In fact, last work, I think is last work you showed, the large lake. I felt, I don't know, you're moving in a different direction now, which I don't know how it's going to be, but it's a total different phase.
Yeah. I think the pandemic changed me again. So I'm going to see something, hopefully it will come up better.
All the best to you.
Thank you so much, Zito. Thank you.
Yes, I liked your works very much. Especially your romantic phase was very, very, very
nice. Naughty, yeah?
Actually, I liked your works from 94, 90 to 97. This period's works are very good.
Woman's period.
Very naughty, right?
No, these works are really very good. These colors and composition, everything is very attractive.
Thank you.
You are in romantic period now.
Of course, I have to have one bit of romantic life. I mean, it's quite natural and I love it. I had it. That's enough.
Why not? Why not?
Why not? Of course, I'm not. It's nothing to shy away from.
Umar to just number hi hota hai na.
Yeah.
Age is just number.
No, Chandana ji, do you know Chandana ji wanted to say Pratibha ji's romantic paintings are so romantic.
My brother's son, he done just master degree, Anand Sharma.
Lovely to see you, Anand.
So, Anand, do you want to ask Pratibha anything? Because you are learning new thing. This quite interesting for Anand to talk through with senior artist work. This is very important. Ask openly your heart. Don't hesitate yourself.
Or what did you like?
Yeah, don't worry about what people think. Just
I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
I like the way composition you made with the color, textures, designs.
Thank you. Thank you.
I haven't seen much, but I would like to know furthermore.
Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you so much.
Any question?
No, that's it.
Okay. Shreya, introduce yourself.
So I am doing MBA from SNDT College, Pune, and I am from Latur, Maharashtra. And ma'am, I really like how you drew from your real life, and your paintings narrate so many stories, and you have described it so beautifully. And I don't have any questions. It's like whatever sir has been guiding me, it's like, okay, this is what sir was talking about. I need to work on this. I can learn this from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too. Thank you. My brother is also on the screen. I would like to say hi to him. Ajay. Ajay is my brother. He's in Singapore. He's joined us from Singapore now.
It was very fortunate, I mean, to see the whole video. I mean, I've been in Pratibha's house most of the time. I mean, if given a choice, I used to just land up in their house, whether uninvited all the time. But yes, I was there all the time.
Miss you so much.
It's really lovely to basically see. I mean, I was fortunate to basically see all the work when they started and everything. So,
yeah, you've seen us through the process of it, right?
Sorry?
You've seen me through the process of it, doing those works and all that thing. Yes. Yeah. Ajay and me used to have debates on our artwork, and I mean, he had his own opinion. He's a computer person. He's a technical person. So nothing to do with fine arts, but he used to give us interesting comments on our works. He's an engineer, right? So he had to give us that kind of comments. I really do miss him coming around. So this is nice. I met you this way.
Yeah. This pandemic has kept the whole people around. It's quite difficult. I'm waiting to get back home.
So that I'm trying to home.
This is another love, Israel. This is a beautiful love. So, Pratibha, you got two-dimensional. Your childhood, your brother was not accepting any kind of fairy tale again, right? And you got your son, Israel. He will not accept any fairy tale.
No, he won't. No. Yes, that's true.
Ajay, nice meeting you. And I have to request Ajay and everyone, we are going to put in YouTube. Please subscribe and please share with few friends. We are trying to do educational channel about our contemporary Indian art and endangered art, indigenous art. Most of people should broadcast it actually. Don't worry about IMA Foundation. People should see the work, what we're trying to do. Please support.
Yeah, I definitely will subscribe and watch it and share it with some of my friends.
Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Oh, sweet. Sister are lovely. You're lucky.
Self-portrait.
Yeah.
Only in one of your works. Is it there often or is it just once?
No. I did it a few times.
Okay.
I was trying to do myself also that time, like putting the landscapes. Then it just weaned out afterwards.
Okay.
I have a few works with that. Sometimes directly, sometimes just a suggestively.
Yeah, suggestively, I think they're there, but this directly was very, very prominently there, but still subtle.
Yes, it was there in that one work, is what I showed, but I otherwise do have.
Okay.
Zito, both your comments are saying something really interesting, and to Pratibha, and it's a question, Pratibha, to you, which is, are you hiding your own heart in some way? Because almost the self-portrait, the self-image is there, but it's not there. You sort of melt away. And
no, it's not hiding. You know, what I feel is, I see the world with myself, but I'm not a narcissist, right? I love the world and I interpret everything with the self. And sometimes I feel, am I becoming a capital I? I do want to be so overburdened with myself and I. That's the time I feel like saying, okay, let me just step a little away and then come on. I'm not shy of it.
Yeah, but I want to say something, because this is the trick the mind plays, is that if I promote myself, I'm being an ego. But actually, from your heart, if you promote yourself, you're inspiring and you're bringing your soul into the world. And that is your gift to the world. You brought that here today. And my sense from Zito is that gift.
Okay, yeah. Yes, Rani. Yeah, maybe it's there behind my mind. Yes, I do feel that, am I promoting myself too much? I do feel, but I'm not shy of bringing myself out that much.
But I promote all the time myself, don't worry.
That's good.
If I say don't promote me, that means promote me.
I have not seen people, looking at Indian art so closely, and it's so closely that it actually appears in your work.
Thank you.
So I'm looking at your work, when you're putting in landscape and there are formats which are, the divisions that we are seeing. Ma'am, what I am understanding is that somewhere down the line, there is a lot of connections or parallels I can see is from the traditional Indian mural painting. Although you did not study, but it's there, because look at the mural painting format. There is no, frame. but there is a divisions which are marked by some architectural unit or a tree, and then another episode begins, and it's all one big huge frame. So it's there.
So both of us have been teachers, and so that's what you've been doing. So obviously, I would also see Indian art that way. I said that Indian art has been quite heavy on to me. I have understood Indian art and understand the Indian narrativity that way.
Yeah, I'm so grateful, Sharmaji, that you brought Pratibha Madam into this program. And by virtue of being with you, I could get to see her work. And, just, kya kehte hain, it is fostering a little bit of excitement into me also to get back to the painting. Otherwise, I was doing all the time art history. Being with you, I mean, the kind of people you are bringing in, they have a lot of positive energy, a lot of good work. And they're all inspiring. So, I mean, thank you, Pratibha Madam, to join us. And
thank you, Anita.
It was all pleasure to see your work and having interaction with you. Nothing more than that. I'm speechless. But thank you for your work. I mean,
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, Chandana, Trina, Zito, Sapna. Thank you so much.
I'm Anuja Vakil, student of Dr. Anita Satsangi at SNDT. I'm in second year, MA. And Pratibha, I want to tell you that your work was amazing and mesmerizing. You gave little petty things of the kitchen a very big platform, or I'll say not just a platform, but it gave very importance. We couldn't imagine that these small things, how you can glorify, we can glorify it. Everything was mesmerizing. Even I love the rendering your work developed was quite commanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I would like, just now I was thinking of making a point of Pratibhaji's interest. There was, I think there was a discussion about. I just wanted to tell one thing, what I understood, that if you really depict yourself well, you are depicting everybody. Is it not so?
True.
So I think I have seen many women in one woman when I was seeing your work.
Thank you.
Wow, that was very good compliment.
Very nice compliment. I'm feeling very, I don't know what I'll be feeling today. I hope I will sleep tonight. I don't think I would. No, it's feeling very nice. And I really had very interesting comments from everybody. That's very nice for me. And a very different one. Very nice. Nothing. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I had a lovely session. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you so much.
We enjoyed. We all enjoyed. We are going to end here. Okay. Bye-bye.